G'day guys, Doss here, and today I'm going to be chasing some mud crabs. And to continue with the theme of the series, we're going to be chasing them land-based. And normally if I'm out chasing muddies, I like to drop a pot off the side of a tinny in the creek. But those big heavy pots aren't going to work in this instance. Lucky enough I've got a mate who's lent me some collapsible ones. Now guys, anytime you go to a new area, whether it be fishing, crabbing or hunting, it's really important to scout that area out thoroughly. So that's what I'm out here doing today. I didn't even bring the pots with me. I didn't want to be hauling through the mangroves not knowing where I'm putting them. So today I'm just out here having a look. Now there are plenty of easy places out there to drop crab pots, but you got to remember, the easier it is for you to get there and check it, the easier it is for somebody else to check it for you. Now this is the exact type of thing I've been looking for. A small creek snaking its way through the mangroves. As the tide comes in and the water pushes up, the crabs are going to go with the water in search of food. But more importantly, when the tide goes back down, it's going to be the last track of water running back out to the ocean, so the crabs will definitely follow that out, straight past your pots. Now I'm really happy with this creek, so I figure that's enough scouting for today. I'll come back tomorrow and check it out. I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do, so I'll see you then. I'm here this morning, it's low tide, so I'm going to walk this creek either direction from the path here, see if I can find somewhere to nestle these pots in, and yeah, we'll see how we go. Alright, let's get into it. So today I'm going to be using this grunter I caught the other day down Barney Beach. I'll just split it in two and we'll get it in the pots. Ideally, you want to leave your pot somewhere that it's in the shade, and if possible with a little bit of water in it still. That way the crabs don't dry out. I ended up running one and I tried to bait the other one up and close the trap up. A bit of a catastrophic failure of the mesh around the outside, so I've just chucked both baits in here. We'll come back tomorrow and see how it goes. As you can see, we're right on the bottom of the tide here. It never runs dry. Any crab that sits in here for, through the low, he's going to be fine because he's in the water. He'll be happy having a feed. We'll come back tomorrow morning and see what we get. Now, like I said guys, it's a pretty long walk into this spot I found, and sometimes that just is the only way you're going to get crabs with some of the people around nowadays. This is an excellent sign on the walk in. It means this crab's caught here before. Empty. Do you know how disappointing that is to lift a crab pot with nothing in it? But it's only the second day or third or fourth day. It's the first lift anyway. It's important not to get discouraged, and we'll be back tomorrow to check it again. Alright guys, heading down here again to check these pots. When I was down there yesterday, I noticed there was a few fish swimming around in that creek. Some of them seemed decent size, so I brought the hand spear. And I actually got a call yesterday afternoon saying I've got to go back to work soon. So I'm doubling down. You can see here I've got a couple extra pots tied off to my bag. Let's see if we can find some of them to drop in and try. Alright guys, I'm going to ditch my bag here. The pot's in the spear because I'm just itching to get down and check that pot. Surely we can't strike out 2 days in a row. Alright, let's go. So we're down here again at low tide, and there's only a couple inches of water in the trap and I don't see any movement, so, Something's definitely been in there because their bait's chewed to pieces. But it's no longer in there. I'm going to get the trap out and just check it to make sure there's no big holes in it. And I'll drop this one back in. So I rebait my trap and drop it back in the water. I decided it's time to go for a bit of a walk and see if I can find a good spot to drop a pot. And I do. But unfortunately there's a pot already in it. And old mate's got a couple of crabs in there. Unfortunately for the crabs though, they're almost high and dry. So let's hope old mate gets there soon and retrieves this catch. I mean, yeah, it is disappointing when you put in this much effort and go this remote, even though we're still close to town. Like it's a long way out through the mangroves to find somebody else's trap there, but I mean, that's just how it is. So I make the call. I'm going to push deeper into the mangroves to see if I can find myself another little creek. And the plan starts off fine. I'm traveling, making good time, and it just progressively gets worse and worse till eventually every step I'm knee deep in mud. The going actually gets that hard I make the call to leave some of my gear behind and come back and get it later. I make a decision that I'm going to head out towards the ocean, hoping the going gets easier, but in fact it gets harder. Walking through these mangrove routes is almost impossible, but eventually I see the ocean and I start heading out that way. Alright guys, I've made it to this firm-ish ground. I mean, it's better than what I was walking on. Now, not if I keep heading this way. There's a rock wall I can cut in on to avoid going back through that mud. I made it to this rock wall here. I knew it was up here from previous excursions. Thought I'd just walk up here around the end of the mangroves onto that, but it's got a little bit softer since last time I was here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to find a different route. Now finally, some proper firm ground. A nice bit of sand, bit of clay, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, it's better than walking in that mud. Now it's a pretty long way back to where we started, but at least travelling this way, I'm not in the mud. Wouldn't be a bad little beach here if it wasn't for all the industrial waste sticking up through it. Now what you're starting to see here is bricks and bits of timber and concrete sticking up through the sand, and trust me, it gets a lot worse the way we go. I can't help but start to draw similarities between this and a war zone. If you just look at the rubble, it's easy to understand why somebody might draw those conclusions. I mean, look at that concrete pile and sticking up straight out of the ground. Now, I'm highly confident whatever environmental policies that allowed this to happen in the past have long since been amended. But it still draws the question, why is all this still here? In any case, nature's taking it back over, as you can see by some of these videos. Also, watch where you stand. Now, although that was a hell of a walk and I would have preferred not to do it, at least we found some new spots to drop the pots. Alright, just over there's where we went in, which unfortunately means I've got to go in there again to get my spear, because I got to a point where I just needed 2 hands to keep going, so I left it. The intention to come back and get it, and unfortunately that time's now. So I'll catch you on the other side of that. Even though at one point in history this place has been used as a literal dumping ground, it's amazing to see how the flora and fauna are recovering. The sheer amount of insects getting around in here that are supporting the lizards and the bird life in here is absolutely amazing. One thing I've noticed after walking around in here for a few days is these birds are breeding in here. It's a really safe haven for them, away from cats and dogs and humans alike. That's not to say they don't have any predators in here though. At least somebody's been getting some crabs. Day 4 ends just the way it started. Me walking through here with no crabs in hand. But we've got those other 2 pots set, so with a bit of luck, tomorrow we might be eating a crab. Day 5, people. Today's the day I reckon we're gonna get a crab. Day 5, not looking good for a crab, if I'm gonna be honest. Right, after being disappointed yet again, I decided maybe I'll walk through the mangroves, see if I can spot any. Maybe pick them up by hand. It's worth a shot. Now, I haven't been able to find any crabs, but I keep finding these little guys. Does anyone know what these are, or even if they're edible? If you do, leave a comment. I mean, you know, they look like they might taste alright. I don't know if they're edible or not. We'll check up on that. Maybe we'll do a recipe on eating these guys. I'll let him go now. Yes. One of the good things about walking around in these mangrove swamps, if you get a bit lost, just follow the water downstream if you came from downstream. That's what I'm doing now. Find my way back out. It's Saturday today, the last day I'm running the traps. We had a little bit of rain last night, so I'm racing down here pre-dawn to chuck some baits in the trap for the high tide this morning. And we'll check them from last night. Alright, I'm racing the tide today, so gotta get into it. I'm pulling the traps out on the low this afternoon, so I'm racing out to put some fresh bait in them today. There was bugger all in them left last night, so I'm hoping with that rain last night, by the time this afternoon comes around, we'll have crabs. Yeah, finally. Got a muddy. Looks like a decent sized one too. I'll have to give him a measure, but he looks like a keeper if he's a buck. Ah, he is. Wouldn't believe how hard it is to hold a camera and hold a crab. I really need a GoPro. The second trap came up empty, and I'm walking over to the third one now, and I see movement. You wouldn't believe how happy I am. This is even better crab than in the first one. Nice rusty buck. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, he's not happy, but I guess I wouldn't be either if I was stuck in there. If anyone's been wondering why I carry a tomahawk, that's why. Makes this a hell of a lot easier. Alright guys, that's it from me. It's time for me to head home today, get out of these mangroves. Now remember guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, whatever, all those things. And I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers guys, thanks for watching.